Hey everyone, g-scotty here. In this series, I try to get an hour of gameplay for every dollar spent on a certain game. So, with that in mind, is BOW, Path of the Teal Lotus, worth $1 an hour? Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and let's check it out. I absolutely love traditional Japanese art, from paintings, woodblock prints, etc. Pretty basic, I know, but one of my favorite pieces of art of all time is the Great Wave off Kanagawa from the Edo period. I hope and pray that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Man, I just wish I could just jump into some of these incredibly breathtaking vistas. Oh, well, this is close enough. BOW Path of the Teal Lotus immediately caught my attention when I first saw its release trailer. The art style was reminiscent of older Asian artworks, and the gameplay looked really fun. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Yes, this looks like a Hollow Knight clone. The traversal, the combat, healing system, a lot more. There's just a lot that is reminiscent of Hollow Knight. However, I don't think it'd be fair to endlessly compare this game to Hollow Knight, which is, you know, in my opinion, one of the closest things to perfect that you can get within the video game industry. So I'm just gonna judge the game, BOW, for what it is, not how it compares to another. Or at least I'm going to try. I'm not gonna lie, they made it kinda hard not to. When it came out, I bought the game for $20 US. So that should give us around 20 hours to aim for. Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. Can't wait to see where this Teal path takes us. If you've made it this far, you should leave a comment down below on what your favorite Metroidvania is, if you have one. I love checking these out. Alright, let's get on with it then. BOW Path of the Teal Lotus was developed by Squid Shock Studios and released July 18th, 2024. The game is classified as a Metroidvania adventure and takes a lot of inspiration from Japanese myth and folklore. I cannot state this enough. This game is an absolute treasure to look at. The artistic design of the characters, landscape, and background are top-notch. The artists over at Squid Shock did such a good job, it's unreal, honestly. Even though the characters, the landscape, everything is supposed to be two-dimensional, everything just really pops and captures your heart. I absolutely love this art style. Now, with all that being said, I do wish that the same amount of love and care that went into the art also went into the gameplay. Okay, before I go on, I just gotta preface what I say with this. I like difficult games. Elden Ring and Hollow Knight are among some of my all-time favorite video games, and I am currently a recovering addict from my current first playthrough of Bloodborne. Those games are just immaculate. Yes, I love difficult games, when their difficulty is from challenging gameplay. The number one problem I have with BOW is that its difficulty lies within its tedious and clunky gameplay. The controls that you have just don't feel responsive enough for the lengthy platforming and boss fights the game demands you conquer. I remember being in one of the boss fights and I tried healing. I had an opening. I had the time. But when I input the command to drink my healing tea, my character didn't respond? What? So when I finally got the dang character to start sipping his juice, I got hit with the enemy's attack and I had to start the whole process all over again. I wish I could say this was just a problem that happened once, or heck, you know, I'd be even okay with it if it was just a few times. But this happened to the point where it became pretty noticeable. And it wasn't just the healing I was having a hard time with. There would be multiple instances where I would try to hit an incoming projectile that I could deflect. My parry passed through it, and I took damage. Like, really? It came to a point where I just stopped trying to block altogether, because it became such a rare occasion that the mechanic actually worked. Speaking of mechanics, there is something that, as a creative myself, I hate so much, and that is when the piece of media I'm consuming rips me right out of the experience and demands that I acknowledge, oh yeah, I'm just playing / reading / watching a thing. I'm not actually in this thing, I'm just consuming it. I bring this up because as of me writing this review, there have been multiple times where I could not access the main menu. You know, the thing that has all the important items, the map, the quest logs, the Dharma. There would be times when I just couldn't open the main menu. Maybe this is just a problem with the PS5 version of the game, But having to hard exit a game multiple times just for a core gameplay mechanic to work is incredibly immersion breaking, and honestly, it's just not good. Then there was the platforming. To be honest, most of the time I had with the game, the platforming was fine. It was fine. It was perfectly serviceable. The main problems that I had with it came up when you had to do something whilst platforming, like smacking around seeds, fireballs, etc. The room for error is slim. Honestly, that's a little bit of an understatement, but whatever. The room for error is slim, but not in a way that's satisfying when you finally achieve the goal. More like in a way where you realize your mistake at the very last second, you can't quickly try again, and when you finally finish whatever you're set out to do, your only joy comes from never having to do it again. I guess I'll say it like this. The game design feels incredibly rough, and the game feels directionless at times. Sure, it's playable, but it just doesn't feel that great. It's such a shame too, because I genuinely like a lot of the ideas that the game presents, like collectible darumas and the bow staff transformations. And the music is really dope too, I'm not gonna lie, the music actually slaps pretty hard. But the game just feels so clunky and unresponsive, and just isn't fun to navigate in my opinion. I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but I just couldn't help but think about how much I'd rather be playing a different game. So I did. Yeah. I stopped playing this game and I just booted up Hollow Knight. I wondered if I was just getting filtered through a tough game, you know, that happens sometimes. So I played a game that Bao clearly, almost ridiculously, took inspiration from. And my goodness, Hollow Knight just felt so tight, clean, responsive, and had a purposeful weight to it. It made me so sad to go back to Bao. And that just says a lot, doesn't it? Bao Path of the Teal Lotus is a beautifully designed game that has so many good ideas, yet it falls short in so much of what it needed to excel in to make its own name amongst its competitors. It genuinely made me think of a beautiful painting, but instead of it being on a canvas, it's been painted on a warped, splinterous 2x4 plank of wood. I mean, its surface is pretty, and it could be considered art, but it hurts to touch and would be a pain to hang up next to the artwork that you already possess that is arguably way more beautiful. If you're obsessed with Metroidvanias and just want more Metroidvanias, I mean, you can try Bao, but I had such a rough time playing it that I could hardly in good conscience recommend playing it to anyone. It's serviceable, but it's also maddening with its inconsistent input controls and frustrating with its tacked-on platform difficulty. I want to like this game. I desperately want to like this game. And I'm sure someone out there will like it and can look past all of its flaws. For me, though, I'm just ready to move on to something else. So, what's the final verdict? Is Bao Path of the Teal Lotus worth $1 an hour? Maybe on a discount, but for me personally, no, not enough bang for your buck. A massive thank you to all of you who are members of the channel, especially the biggest patrons of the month, my pal Johnny Appleseed and Telemachus826. If you want to support the channel and gain access to cool perks like exclusive videos, stream VODs, and more, click the join button to learn how. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Bye-bye!